Is this scenario familiar to you? You're doing your daily meditation and you're quite disciplined, but still you find yourself getting stuck in the mind and your thoughts pattern, even when you try to come back immediately to your breath and you feel like it's just not working at the moment? Well, great, then stick around. I had the same problem and I've been meditating now on a daily basis for 10 years and I've run into the same problem, and I'm gonna show you in this video one possible approach, how to look at it from a different angle. Stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. Usually in this video I focus mainly on Vipassana meditation. If you're not familiar what Vipassana is, basically it's just watching your breath. You watch how the breath goes in into your lungs and out again, in and out again. And whenever you're caught up in your mind, in certain thoughts or also emotions, and you are aware of it, you come immediately back. So basically this is a very disciplined approach, but I had the problem at a certain point that I hit a plateau and I was constantly trying to go beyond it by forcing myself and disciplining myself to come back, but it still somehow didn't work for me because I forced it too much. It was a very male-oriented approach. In this video I'm gonna show you now another approach, and it's more a female approach. I would call it a more soft and devotional approach. So the underlying problem is that regardless if you are aware of it or not, your mind usually always has a goal, what it wants to achieve. So in this scenario, usually it wants to achieve a state of no mind, or even more than this, inner peace and clarity. So basically, in simple words, distance from the thoughts, which you will achieve by watching the breath. But when you have like this, still this subtle belief, I need to get somewhere, I need to achieve it, how it is right now is not enough. Well, the approach that I'm going to show now to you is based on the opposite. And it works like this. Instead of trying to go beyond the thoughts or to let go of them, just leave it as it is for the moment and try the approach of interest and curiosity. What do I mean with that? Basically, I want you to be really curious about what's actually happening when you watch the breath. And the most easiest way, how it worked for me, is to see if it's possible to create a devotional or a very soft and loving approach while you watch the breath. So instead of being constantly focused on when you're caught up in the mind or identify with the thought again, and you're maybe being too strict with yourself, just focus all your attention on the breath, how it's going in, deep down in your lungs and your belly, and then out again, and allow the breath to come in on its own, and just watch it and pay attention to every little detail, and really with the approach of feel what's going on. It's more like a feeling into a breath instead of a watching, like really leaning into it. And by doing so, if it works, you will experience your own breath in a more alive way, in a more vibrant way. And that's the key. Once you've seen that there's a certain aliveness in us and a vibrancy, then suddenly the thoughts are not so interesting anymore, and you're more occupied with actually watching the breath and feeling into it. And you will feel that it's actually a quite satisfying feeling. So being disciplined and always coming straight back to the breath when you're caught up in your mind It's more like the approach of, that's quite interesting. That feels quite alive. Let's feel more into it, instead of, I have to sit here, I have to watch the breath, and every time when I come back to a thought, then it's wrong. That's a very male-oriented approach. That can work also, but I hit at a certain point a plateau, and for me, then the soft approach worked way much better. So it's literally creating a kind of a devotional relationship with your own breath. The key is really the curiosity, to lean into it and to actually want to feel it, to be curious, and to explore it. Because the approach of always coming back and being strict with yourself when you're caught up in your thoughts is very dry and disciplined, and it can be very demotivating after a certain amount of time. And trying it more from a soft space where you actually have a genuine interest in feeling into it, there something can happen, because then you're not occupied with the outcome of the meditation anymore. You're just occupied with how the breath feels in this specific moment, and every little detail that you feel, just feel more into it and more into it and more into it. And at a certain point you realize, when the breath starts to become so alive and interesting, the whole attention which was before on your thoughts is now on the breath, but not because you had to do it, because you gave yourself to the breath, that you started to see it or experience it more from a essential and more raw level, which is quite interesting, because then the mental filter of it's just the breath, it's just going in and out, you're not really occupied with that anymore. The whole idea is to more see the breath as your friend, and to develop a friendship. And what you do with friends is you enjoy the time, you spend time with them, you watch it. And this is the same that I would like to suggest you, instead of coming back to it because you have to and because you want to get somewhere. No, come back to it because you want to spend time with it, you want to watch it, you want to actually feel into it and experience it in its totality. I hope you're gonna try it out. Let me know how it works for you. Don't be disappointed if it doesn't work from the first moment on. Peace out.